How'd you divide the equity up? We got 7 Zellers here. This sounds complicated as hell.
Yeah. So my father and uncle decided that they would start giving 2% a year um, to each of us, the 5, right? So 2% a year over 5 years, we got 50% of the business. And at that point, then we'd talk about, okay, how do we finalize the final 50%? One of the because I pushed, I pushed envelopes, I asked hard questions, I feel like, and when we hit 50% after 5 years, I go to the second gen. I'm like, hey, all right, guys, it's our time. Like, let's buy them out. And everybody's like, whoa, Seth, like, I'm ready when my dad's ready. I'm not going to force them out. I'm not going to push them out. And I'm like, I'm not pushing them out. I'm just saying, like, now's the time. Like, we got it. We've kind of leading the charge. We have the contacts now. I'm like, it's time to do it. And that created friction, right? Because I wanted to push the envelope. I wanted to get things done. We obtained majority control. And some of my partners in the second gen just didn't feel comfortable doing that. And just misalignment, again, is what kind of fostered, some of the troubles of the second gen and 7 Zellers owning a small business, right? We were essentially $7 million business with 7 owners. There's not a lot to pass around.
Did your dad and brother, did they make it clear what they actually wanted for the sons?
No, we didn't have a structure. I would say everybody wanted to be an owner, and they liked that as the job title. My philosophy was like, owner's not a job title, and we need clarity of role, clarity of leadership. My dad and uncle didn't really create a succession plan. They didn't tag anybody as like the next like leader. It was like, we're family, we'll make it work, right? And that was kind of the mentality. And they weren't growth oriented. That wasn't how their minds worked, right? It was just like, work hard, maintain a good reputation, love people, right? Do what's right. And they thought it should just work.
How do you get from that point to sort of the final ownership structure over the coming years?
When I started pushing, I met with the second gen, right? When we had 50%, I had an offer. How I remember it is I was like, we had dinner. I remember the place. And I said, hey guys, I think we need to finalize this. I think we need to buy out, Dad and John. And I think we just do it lump sum. Like, let's just get it done now. We can take out a loan and we'll finalize that. And they pushed against it a little bit. And I said, hey, you know what? If you're not on board with doing this, I get it. But I think we need 2 things. One, I think we need to buy out Dad and John. And 2, I think we need clear leadership. And I said, I think I'm that guy for this. Some nodded, right? And some were like, no, we're not doing this. That kind of started kind of what I don't know, the precipitated what became a buyout and a conflict, but what a buyout of in 2015, buyout of my uncle, my dad, and the other 2 owners. So yeah, we bought out everybody in 2015.
And your uncle, his whole side's out.
Man, it was messy, I think. Disagreements, we're an aggressive family. There was some really loud and hard conversations. Didn't go well at all. In hindsight, right, there's always opportunities to handle things differently. There's always I don't like the term, but there's always regret in how you approach things. I know I could have done things better, but yeah, we bought all of them out. And I know that really hurt my uncle. And we probably said and did things that he viewed as just maybe unethical. Maybe he viewed them as like, I can't believe you guys are doing this to me and my family. That wasn't the intent. It was just like, we look at things differently. How are we each going to get what we want? And those are conversations I had a lot. I feel like it was like, what do you want out of this business? What are your views? What are your long-term aspirations and goals? So we brought in consultants, and I brought in confidants for myself and asking questions on what this should look like. And it just did not go well. There was hurt, there was anger, my cousins and my uncle then started actually a competitor. They started a new contracting firm right in our backyard. There's just that added conflict there and added stress on who's going to go where and who wants to be part of our vision. It was so intense. It was so emotional. People say you see red. I just think you just don't see sometimes, right?
Where did the ownership percentages end up? You got the two of you and the non-family member.
Yeah, 33% each. So across the board.
Okay.
So
you're equal.
Yeah.
And how did you get along with the non-family member versus your brother? I'm just wondering how that dynamic shook out over time.
Brian is his name. Great guy, man. Salt of the earth. Hard worker, very mechanically inclined, a great electrician. That dude could figure anything out, man. But he was also passive, and he didn't like conflict, didn't handle conflict well. And so my brother and I, oh man, I mean, my brother and I are just bam, bam. And he just didn't know how to approach that, didn't know how to handle that. And
yeah,
as much as we wanted him to be that tie break and that kind of, he was older than us, about a decade older. We wanted him to engage in a manner that was a leading voice and and conflict resolution. And that was just not his nature. So we have one guy that's pitted, oftentimes in discussions or in strategic planning against one or the other and doesn't know how to respond. And that conflict just, I'm sure, killed him.